How's it going, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Duel Archives. I think we're in episode 10 here. If you guys haven't seen the last episode, I'll leave a link to it up in the top right for you guys to check out. And we are going back to, I want to say, early 2015, January of 2015. Getting a little harder to find some of these older ARG matches. So again, if you guys have any suggestions of matches you want me to go over and review in this series, please drop them down in the comments below. But I didn't really have anything planned for today upload wise, and we haven't done one of these in a couple weeks, so I figured what other thing to do than a new episode of the Duel Archives. A lot of really cool content coming this week. We got feature matches, a really cool Speedroid video that is going to be in the works, and more one deck 1 month, of course. But let's go ahead and jump right into this one. This one is an hour-long ARG Orlando top 16 Dalton Boozman versus Nick Allen on Tellarknight. So I wanted to find a match that had something a little bit different than the decks we've been featuring in the past couple episodes. Have been like BA, Cliff Orchard, all, and this is Tellarknight, and this is also still like one of my favorite formats ever, most nostalgic formats. So really happy to be still in this era. I think Dalton was in like the first ever episode we did. I think it was him versus Pat Hoban, like Mermail versus Firefist. I think it was like one of the first episodes we ever did. And playing the Burning Abyss strategy, starting with the tour guide, going for graph, milling 3 here. I'll try not to pause as much, because I know some people don't like that, but sometimes I need to pause to catch up with what's going on. But he is going to go ahead and summon out a Skarm and then Seer, bringing back the graph. So milled really strong there off the Dante. Second Dante detaching the Skarm, and then still going to mill 3. There's the rank up spell and a Fire Lake and a Rubik. I was gonna say, did he end phase forget Skarm? But there's no way. He still has more plays to do there. Gonna upstart. Go ahead and draw into another card. Of course, he's on the 37 card deck with the 3 upstarts in the main deck, because it does make quite a big difference in terms of consistency. So of course you've got to play it, right? Why not? And I saw again the rank up magic, Astral Force in the graveyard. Super cool to see that. Allows you to turn Dante into a Pleiades, which is like awesome in terms of disruption, because like Dante doesn't really do anything on its own other than just be a big 2500 wall. So having a card like rank up to go into Pleiades is great. And then we're going to see Tellarknights lead with the Neb to search, then follow that up with the Duality to go ahead and grab a Rhoda. And the Tellarknight deck, not really a super special summon heavy deck, especially on the first turn. So seeing the Duality makes sense, and so does the set 4. But we're going to see Dante detach, mill 3, detaching a graph, milling a Skarm, a Foolish, and a Tour Guide. He's going to go ahead and summon out a Calcab from the deck, which makes a lot of sense here, because Calcab, when it hits the grave, can go ahead and return a set spell or trap back to the hand. It's going to be especially good in a scenario like this. And this is interesting, because I'm like, he could go for Utopic Draco right now, but that card is not in the format yet, and won't be for quite some time. I know regular Utopic 0 could be in the format for this deck, and specifically in a very long... actually... maybe right now to out certain cards like Leo. That card is actually kind of nice. Now we're going to see Beginning of the End activate here, which is like one of my absolute favorite cards of all time. Allows you to banish 5 darks from your grave and then draw 3, which is like actually insane. So this is like that big BA deck that I love. It's like one of my favorite decks I've played in past formats. I think they're looking up a translation for Beginning of the End, because that might be a foreign copy. So banish 5, draw 3, and he has a ton of cards in hand, which is not surprising. The real question is, will he actually be able to do anything with them? Looks like yes. There is a Rubik into Virgil, and he's going to trigger the effect of Calcab to go and return one of those back to the hand. So that's one last thing he's got to worry about. Virgil going to go ahead and discard a Seer to spin back the Deneb. Just so good, and I can see that those Upstart Goblins are signed by somebody, and I can only imagine that they're probably signed by Pat, because who else would you have sign Upstart Goblins? So board getting cleared here. Already 2 cards down, 3 backward to go. If there's any alphas, they've been turned off at this point. 1 Dante is activated here so far. Seer bringing back a Graph. And if he has any more extenders in hand, it's going to be pretty strong here to make a 3rd Dante potentially. Or like any other rank 3, like Alucard at this point. He's just going to go for another Dante, detaching an Alec, it looks like, milling 3 more, finding a light monster, which is huge. Another Dante effect here. Going to go ahead and mill again. We'll see how many mills this time. I mean, I don't really think you need to mill a lot more at this point because you're just kind of like letting your resources run dry. Also, beginning of the end is not a once per turn either. I don't think it's a once per turn card. So like this is a deck that could easily abuse it. Maxi, Vanities, and MST, all of which aren't going to come in very clutch right here. He has a lot of damage on field right now. So he's going to take 25, 25, 25, and 25. And he does not have anything. All those back row were either not the right type of back row he was looking for, or they were all just bluffs, which is extremely unfortunate. So these guys are going to go ahead and side. We'll just go ahead and skip through here. And I imagine we'll see Tellarknight go first because going second I don't think would make much sense. Starting off with Rhoda. Sane. I think Rhoda's at 3 right now at this current point. Normal Vega into a Nunculai, dumping into Neb, overlaying into a Dweller. No, into... I forget what this card actually does. It's a heroic challenger monster or something. So that is actually Heroic Champion Gandiva. It says once per turn when a level 4 or lower monster or monsters is special summoned to your opponent's side of the field, except in the damage type, you can attach a material in this card, destroy that special summon monster or monsters. Really interesting card here to try to go ahead and counter the BA deck. I can see it working pretty okay, because if he goes Tour Guide, summon a BA, you could pop that BA, and then if it's like a Graph per se, if he summons something, you know, from the deck, like it's just going to die because he has a non-BA stuck on the field. So that's actually really strong. He's going to go ahead and summon a Skarm, and he's going to activate Gandiva to destroy it, and he won't get Skarm effect because he used its other effect. Special summon Seer from the hand, normal summon Skarm, so no Seer effect here, no Skarm effect, so just level 3 tokens hitting the field at this point as extenders. I think leaving the Seer underneath that is the correct call, and he's going to detach the Skarm, mill 3. Absolutely terrible mills there. Upstart, Fairy Wind, Fire Lake. Not really what you want to see, but he does have the rank up magic in hand, and that could actually be really strong here to actually go ahead and like retrieve back the Fire Lake if he detaches with the Dante, or if he detaches the Seer, that can go ahead and summon one back like the Skarm. And if he has Pleiades on field, the Skarm will die instantly, resulting him in a search of Tour Guide in the end phase, plus actually removing an opponent's card in the process here. So really, really strong so far. And he has, it looks to be like an Allure or potentially a beginning of the end in hand, and a Fairy Wind. Fairy Wind, fantastic card for this particular format. Now we're going to see him activate rank up magic. Astral Force, Pleiades. Yep, no shocker to see the Pleiades here. And also, if I haven't mentioned yet, a link to the original video will be down in the description as always. So Pleiades is going to bounce back the Gandiva. Dante will add one back, which looked to be a Skarm. And then end phase call the Haunted. So good in the Tellarknight deck. End phase call, bringing back the Neb, grabbing Altair, and then, you know, drawing for a turn here. Just finding so much advantage. Normal summon Altair. And Triver is out at this point too. We are post new challengers. Bringing out Vega. Vega effect to bring out an Nunculai. And Nunculai is going to go ahead and dump it to Neb to the graveyard for that continuous setup for Altairs in the following turns. My man is cutting his deck 1,000 times here. Maybe thinks he's drawn a little too broken. But at this point, you could do 2 regular rank 4s here, or you could just do, you know, 1 big rank 4 play with 3 materials into the what is it, Triver, and that'll bounce back your Call the Haunted. And it looks like that's exactly what he's gonna do. Unfortunately, Seer is still going to hit the graveyard because it is an Xyz material. Now, interestingly enough here, I wonder if he could chain Fairy Wind. That actually wouldn't matter because, like, Call the Haunted still going to go back to the hand, I believe. Chainlink 1, Triver, Chainlink 2, Fairy Wind. Fairy Wind resolves, then Triver resolves. So no. Activating Fairy Wind here, there might be some merit to it to make it so he can't actually keep recycling the Call the Haunted. Chaining Pleiades here doesn't really... yeah, I guess bouncing back the Triver makes a lot of sense. And then it looks like he's going to chain Fairy Wind to the Pleiades here before the opportunity is too late. And then Seer on a new chain to go ahead and summon. So that's successfully outing the entire field. And the Call of the Haunted not returning to the hand, which is what is most important. But I think Dalton actually, or not Dalton, I think Kyle, yeah, or Nick. Nick is on the right. Nick has, I think he has another trap card in hand. It looks like it's a Call of the Haunted. I don't know why I thought his name was Kyle for a second, but, you know, it is what it is. But he's getting the Seer effect regardless, which I think he's getting the Seer effect. Unless I'm missing something. I think he's debating on what he wants to summon back with the Seer. I mean, I think going for Scar makes the most sense. I think Dante's just like a slower route to do what you want to do. Because yes, if he clears Dante in any way, shape, or form, you know, he can get to add back. But if he just clears the Scarm, I think that's much better because he'll get Tour Guide going into his next turn. And then if he doesn't clear the the Scarm, then it's just free fodder for the following turn to keep playing. And we know he has a Scarm in hand already, because I think he added it back off the Dante the previous turn. So I think both players are just trying to sort out the game state right now. They're just calculating life points, because Fairy Wind actually does burn you for, I think, 200 or 300, depending on how many face-up spell or traps were destroyed by that card itself. So we're gonna see Kyle or Nick go ahead and set 2. I don't know why I called him Kyle. Or is he still thinking on what to summon back here? I feel like this is not that hard of a decision. Maybe he wants to... I mean, Seer can't bring back Seer, so... I feel like you just bring back the Scarm. I don't really see... Yeah, that's seemed like a very easy play there to make. Even though he does have to normal summon the Scarm again, but that's fine. You get a Scarm this end phase, and you're definitely getting one in the next end phase. Dante milling 3, finding a Graph. That's huge after hitting MST and... rank up magic is your first 2 mills. That's probably pretty relieving to see that. Graph effect, of course. Go ahead and summon out Scarm. Or not Scarm, summon out the Seer from the deck, which is going to be another extender here. Probably trying to fuel that beginning of the end, which is in his hand. It's got to be beginning of the end. 100%. It's definitely not Allure of Darkness at this point. It's 1, 2, 3 Darks Engrave. If he can establish another Dante, he could easily probably fulfill that. But that's if he has the extender for it. And whatever these 2 setback for Nick are going to make a huge difference in here and how this game is going to play out. If it's another Call of the Haunted, which I'm betting it is another Call of the Haunted. He has an Altair in play. I know that much. Which I think got bounced back to the hand by Triver. So he is going to battle phase swing for 16 and for 25, I'm guessing here. And yeah, it's got to be because he overlaid with the 2 or Vega, like he overlaid with Vega and Nuck and something else to go into the Triver and left the Altair on the field, which is important because that gives him follow-up for the next turn. You don't want to bounce back like a Deneb, because that's like slower follow-up. You'd rather have like something that can get your summoning chain going, you know, summon one into another, try to go for that big rank 4 play. End phase, we're going to see the Scarm as expected, actually going for Graph here, and that is a Call of the Haunted, which is insane. So incredibly good here, and we know he has the Altair, so Vega into Altair into Deneb to search out another Altair, which is huge at this point, which means he gets to start his normal summon next turn with the Altair, or he could start his turn with Triver, which is great. Although he does have Scarm Seer. Well, no, the Scarm is the only thing that's going to hit the graveyard. Everything else is getting bounced back. Normal summon the Altair, bring back the Deneb, and Altair, or Deneb effect to go ahead and add Altair. He's got MST in hand too. So incredibly good here, and we're going to see him overlay Probably into, yeah, Abyss Dweller seems pretty good here. And yeah, I mean, yeah. So you want to, I was going to say, you want to use Dweller here first. But he's actually going to go for Delta Rose, which is going to be able to attach to destroy. And that's not going to trigger. That is so good here. That is so incredibly good. And also, while Delta Rose is up, he can't respond to, I think, normal summon monster effects, which is insane. I know it has some condition where you can't respond to summons. But we're going to see him start with the Seer, or the Scarm, rather, into Graph. And he's going to have to worry about Abyss Dweller here, which is just so punishing at this point. And those 2 unknown back row, which, again, could be anything. If it's Alpha that's really, really strong. Because not only will he get to negate whatever monster he tries to go into, he'll get to draw a card, and then he'll get the extension from Delta Rose. Because Delta Rose and Triver both have float effects. So we're going to see him activate Dante. He's going to chain the Dweller, mill a Light and a Dark, which is pretty nice there. Milling the Tour Guide's got to be pretty good. And we know he's got that draw spell in hand still. It has to be beginning of the end. And I wouldn't be shocked here if we can see him actually fire that off, because he does have the requirements now, definitely at this point. Rolling up the sleeves here. Getting ready to make a push. Dante, importantly, still at 25 now. There is the beginning of the end. Which, by the way, if you guys have ever seen an Ultimate Rare copy of Beginning of the End, it's a crazy looking Ultimate Rare. Talk about just literally foil everywhere all over the card, because it's such an interesting artwork. Like, it's just like a really weird card. He draws 3, finds an upstart, so he's gonna go ahead and draw another card. I think he drew into an MST, which is pretty nice here, but that's still not helping him out, this Dweller plus Delta Rose. And they're trying to keep track of life points here, because there's been upstarts, there's been fairy winds, there's been some poking damage here and there. So let's just try to skip past them figuring out life points. A lot of life point figuring out here. Okay. A lot of life point figuring out. Good thing we can skip through that. So Dante over the Dweller. Even though Dweller's not really a threat anymore at this point, but getting rid of it's fine. He can't clear the Delta Rose anyways unless he wants to crash, so that makes the most sense. Set 3 of his own. Start with Delta Rose. Detach to go ahead and pop. It's the MST. He's going to go ahead and chain, of course. No point in hitting all the Haunted. And he goes to hit an MST. Hits a Vanities. Pretty good card to hit here. So MST chains firing off. MST is so good. Such a good card back in the day. A lot of times, like, people would MST into, like, 3 back row, and then they hit an MST and they chain another back row. So a lot of times, like, MSTing your opponent would just result in you getting MST'd back, and you're at that point, you're losing 2 spells and traps, so they're just 1. MST is so incredibly good. I do like when that card finds its way back into the format every now and then. You need to have a deck that doesn't like discarding, and a format where, like, banishing and paying the cost of Cosmic Cyclone, like, or banishing the spell and trap, like, doesn't make a difference. Then at the point, you don't have to worry about paying the 1,000 that Cosmic, has to pay. MST is still a great card. And we're going to see him normal summon the Altair, and of course, he cannot respond to the summon because of Delta Rose. Unless I'm missing something here. Yeah, I was going to say, the judge is... I have to pause here, because I need to read Delta Rose. Delta Rose says, while this card has 60 material, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when you normal or special summon a monsters. Yeah, so he actually can't emptiness on the summon effect. He would have to preemptively do it. So, the Altair and Vega still going to go through here, and then he can go ahead and emptiness on the resolution. Altair is, or not Altair, Delta Rose is a really solid card. You cannot activate cards or effects when you're normal or special summon a monsters. All of the effects of the Tellarknights happen when they are summoned, not when they're just normal or special summon. He's going to get to summon out 3 bodies. He can't Xyz after that. Fine. This is going to make this feel all the harder for Dalton to go ahead and get through. And he's got to have to go ahead and worry about his own emptiness at this point could go ahead and cause problems. Because if he detaches the Dante, it's not going to trigger emptiness to destroy itself because the material is being sent from the field. Or not being sent from the field because the materials aren't on the field. He's not also going to be able to summon off of his graph. So I think this game is going in favor of Nick Allen 100% here. Got another emptiness in hand too, which is not hot. Like, what do you hit off of this? What are you hoping to hit off of this this Dante here? I'm not really sure. Like, Alec doesn't do anything, and he hits a Rubik Tour Guide and Fire Lake. Does Vanity say deck and field? Okay, if Vanity says deck and field, then that makes a huge... I'll actually just look it up here. Normal summons Alec. Vanity says deck or field. Okay, they had a double. It's been a long time since I've had to read Vanity's Emptiness, and thankfully so. That card is, how do I put this? Is cancerous, to say the least, 100%. So, he can crash with a Delta Rose, which is fine, because he'll just be able to extend off that, but he's just going to go over the Altair. And then, Calcab over the Deneb. And then he's left just with the Vega and the Delta Rose. I really don't see how he's winning this game here. Maybe, like, I assume he's on a Chaos Engine, too, with the Veilers in the deck. I mean, Veilers also pretty good in this format for hitting Tour Guides, Denebs, etc. But he's going to normal summon an Uncle Eye. He's not going to go ahead and activate the effect of an Uncle Eye. And then we're going to see him pay 1,000 for Soul Drain. Activate Delta Rose, pop Dante, Battle Phase, run over Calcab, swing in with the Vega and a Nook. Main Phase 2, make Daigusto Emerald, recycle Altair, Altair, Altair. That is huge. Now, if that isn't the writing on the wall, I don't know what is. I mean, I don't know what top deck he could... I mean, top deck Tour Guide is really strong. Draw one card, set 2, so good. And he rips the Tour Guide off the top, but there's the Vanity's Emptiness to close it out. And that's why that card is banned. All right. Really good match so far, actually. Really good match. Hope you guys are enjoying this one so far. Let's go ahead and skip through to the siding. And yeah, starting with Tour Guide here. Ooh. Flying Sea. Flying Sea. He's like, nope, that graph doesn't die because it is has its effects negated. Not that it would matter because he would just get to summon like a Skarm and then that would die. So, Flying Sea, so good against this deck. Incredible side deck card for this format. I need to look this card up really quick just so I can pull up its exact text. Flying Sea. When your opponent normal or special summons a monster except in the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. So yeah, they can't Ixie summon while that's on the field. So the only way they typically have to get rid of the contact or the Flying Sea is either by crashing it like he just did there, or finding a Rubik to be able to synchro summon with it. But the Rubik has to be summoned off of something like Tour Guide or Libic, which I don't know if Libic is out yet, because Libic was like hands down one of the best Burning Abyss extenders for a long time in big BA variants. At least that's what I remember when I was playing the deck. I loved Libic. It was one of the best extenders. So he will find a way to clear it at the cost of his battle phase, which is a pretty huge cost for a deck like BA that can OTK very, very easily with double Dante Virgil. But he will go ahead into the Dante with Graph and Skarm as materials, some pretty good materials. He's got a Veiler in hand, that much I can see. And he's going to go ahead and detach the Graph. He got the Soul Drain? Nope. Mills a Tour Guide, Graph Effect. Will it resolve? Yes, it will. No Vanities, no Soul Drain. Summoning out a Seer directly from the deck. He does have one spell trap, so he cannot just keep summoning the BA monsters from the hand because they do have that restriction, where in order to summon them, you have to have no spells and traps on your field. No set spells and traps, I believe. But he's going to pass turn there. He's going to normal summon Deneb. That's going to get hit with a Veiler. Probably wishes he had a Delta Rose on board at this point. And he's going to cut his deck 1,000 times and then also shuffle it on top of that. So we're going to see him go into a Dweller, hit over the Seer, no effect, and pass turn. Dweller's so good because like the two materials on it is just like so incredibly good because you get to stop them on your turn and then you also shut them down on the next turn. He is going to decide to mill 3 though, regardless. Yeah, hits a Seer there. That's unfortunate. and a Fairy Wind, and a Vanity's Emptiness. So, I mean, getting those cards out of the deck at this point is nice, too, because those are cards, like, he's not necessarily maybe going to want to top deck later. Switch the Dante to attack here. Run over the 1700 Dweller. He's got Forbidden Chalice, which will negate its effects, and then boost it by 400. So, Dante now at 14, and it's going to die to the Dweller, and he'll take 300. And it's also under Dweller, so he will not get to add back there. And it looks like he'll pass turn. Does he have a Call of the Haunted? Call of the Haunted end phase would be huge here to seal the game, but no, it doesn't have it. And he top decks an Altair into Deneb. At least it looks like he top decked an Altair into Deneb to go ahead and add another Altair to keep things going in the next turn. Attack with the Altair, and importantly, remember, you can only attack with the Tellarknight monster the turn you activate Altair's effect. Very interesting restriction. Does he want to make a rank 4? Looks like not. End phase MST to hit a Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. That is huge. That would have, like, single-handedly have sealed the game. Summon out Rubik, normal summon Calcab. So Dalton not looking like he's out of the race just yet. He's going to be able to get to remove 2 here. I was going to say remove 2 if he decided to go into the Virgil. Because he go ahead and spin one off of the Alec there, or the Calcab, and then spin one again off of the Virgil, so long as he has the BA card in hand. He's going to mill 3. He is going to alpha negate the Dante. Dante will still mill, as it does mill for cost. Calcab will still spin one back. And you get to add back off of the Dante. And then he's going to go ahead and activate the beginning of the end here. I'm not sure what they're discussing at this point. Okay, so they're rewinding. Okay, so he's going to negate with the... All right, hold on. So he's negating the Dante with the Nova. And then new chain would be Dante if he decides to use it, then Calcab to bounce back to the other set. So let's see what's going to happen here. If he has anything in response. I'm mildly unsure what's happening here. But they're asking a judge about something, so. Because I know Nova's a... I think Alpha's not a once per turn? Nova Alpha? Let me double check here. Stellar Nova Alpha is not a once per turn. So I think he was just maybe thinking if he was going to actually negate Calcab effect to go ahead and draw another card, but looks like he's not. And now he's resolving a beginning of the end, which is huge. I thought originally it was like he didn't like declare the Dante before he like, or he didn't use the Dante effect before he like fired off the beginning of the end. So I thought he was like, no, you committed to that play, so you're not going to be able to recycle that card. Yeah, that's strange. I don't know. Weird things happening here, getting lost in translation. But it looks like they've both sorted it out. And summoning out a Seer. And setting one, not setting one, and passing turn. And it looks like he's drawn Rhoda for turn here, too, which is really good. Like, really, really good. Since I think we already know he has another Altair in hand because he searched it the previous turn. So that could go ahead and very well grab Vega here, which is going to go Vega into Altair into Deneb to search another Altair. And I remember like that Emerald play we saw the last game, which is so cool because I always remember you'd go into the Altair, or you go into the Daigusta Emerald to recycle all of your Altairs because that would just allow you to keep continuously recycling all your stuff. But instead, he's going to actually road for Deneb. And does he play 2 Dweller? Nobody's going to go for Castel, shuffle back the Seer. Swinging for 2017. And he's going to go ahead and set. And pass turn. Which, if it's the Nova as a bluff, it's not going to do anything because he needs a Tellarknight monster to be able to beat off. And he'll pass turn. You know he has like 2 BAs in hand, or maybe 1 BA. And we know he has a rank up magic. Looks like he has actually 2 rank up magics at this point. And those are probably doing more harm than good here. Looks like he might be thinking standby phase. Maybe not. Summon out Rubik. And there's Max C in response because the BAs do activate. They're not just inherent summons, so he can chain Max C to those to get the draw. Now being under Max C at this point is really rough because BA is a deck that has to do a ton of special summoning to achieve anything. You know, you're looking at 2 summons, basically 2 special summons for a Dante, and then if you want to extend past that and do another one, that's another 1, 2, 3 summons. So that's just like 5 draws right there because he could normal summon the Seer here, which is exactly what he's gonna do. Seeing what he's got into the grave right now, and I mean, like, maybe you make a Dante mill, and then maybe you make a Pleiades, and then, like, stop while you're ahead, because you get, like, potential effects in the grave, like Scarm, for follow-up next turn. You also get an interruption while giving your opponent, I think, the least amount of draws possible. He's going to make Dante. I think I saw a Giga Brilliant in his extra deck, too, which is really cool, if I saw that correctly. Absolutely whiffs. And Seer's going to summon out a Graph. He'll get to draw. Battle phase Dante over the Sky Blaster for 500. Dante turns the defense. And if he wants to keep going, he's going to get to draw another card if he decides to play that rank up Magic. And I don't know how worth it would be here for him to do that, but it looks like he's just going to set one. And face Call the Haunted? It's definitely not. I mean, I still don't know why he would reset. Oh, I get why he would reset the alpha, because if it sticks to the field, which it has in this case, he has that negate ready, that sort of Omni negate ready during his turn when he's trying to set up. Then we're going to see him go into Gaga Cowboy. Nope, thinking on the summon, he says. And it's going to go through. And he's going to Fire Lake. And, oh my god, he's got the Wiretap. Hold on. He has a Wiretap. He actually had a Wiretap to stop that Fire Lake. Wow. He actually had a Wiretap to stop that Fire Lake. That is amazing. Wiretap was such a good card this format, man. So good. What did Wiretap say exactly? When a trap card is activated, negate the activation, you shuffle that card into the deck. So incredibly good. So incredibly good. Almost like a better Dark Bribe. At least in this meta where there's so many good traps flying around. Vanities, Fire Lake, you know, Alphas in the Tellarknight deck. Any, like, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. So good. Such a great match. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, link to the original video down in the description if you guys want to see more of my content. Click on one of the videos popping up on the bottom of the screen right now. And as always, Winner Kill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And of course, a special thank you goes to our Divine Level channel members, and they are Cadillacs84, Pony Stark, Keith Sidgers, Tweeter0226, and Black Ninja Money. Again, thank you guys so much as always for all your extremely generous support.